Good afternoon, everyone. And as you know, my name is Zenzi Sewa, and I'm speaking from the UK, London. And my guest today is Kay Whittaker, who is in San Jose, Santa Fe, San-
Santa Fe.
in New Mexico. And judging by her color, it's lovely and hot there. And here in London, it's we're in springtime. The weather's getting warmer and warmer, which makes it so much nicer. And people are so much happy when the sun is out. So, as you know, my guests are talking about their spiritual journey, their journey of connection, and Kay is a shaman, but she likes to call herself a storyteller because I asked her what was the real meaning of shaman, and she said it's medicine person, and it's the word shaman comes from Siberia, and it's about people who are medicine person or they are knowledge keepers. So I said to her, stop, because she's going to talk more on that. So without much ado, Kay Whittaker, welcome to Spiritual Infinity.
Thank you. I am delighted to be here. This is going to be so much fun. So
Yes.
thank you. Yeah.
Oh, and as you know, Faye, we want to know your journey into this realm, but how did you start? Was it from childhood? So did you hear things? Tell us your story.
Mm. Well, as a child, even as far back as I can remember, and I tend to remember things even farther back than most. I remember being in my crib,
Oh,
so really early, and my the high chair for eating.
yeah.
I remember that. I remember throwing a tantrum, sitting in my high chair when I didn't get something that I needed or wanted. So uh, I've always been just a little bit different, not always fitting in with all the regular crowds of
Let,
people.
let me stop you there
Yeah.
because people tend to say that, then move on. I want you to say, in what way were you a little bit different? In what way did you not fit in?
Good question. I thought out of the box. I never I never fully fit into the box that society and my parents, my family, the television, everybody wants to fit you in this box and program you, and this is life and this is who you are, and you get all this programming.
Yes.
Uh, I never quite fit in the box. I never quite believed all this different stuff. I didn't realize that at a time. That's something that I've had to um, kind of rediscover as I looked into my own memories. And I thought, I just didn't believe and act like my siblings or the parents or the neighbors, or I didn't understand what all this keep up with the Joneses kind of concept. Um, I was born in 1948, and so um, all that childhood was in the 50s, and I just didn't. It was like I was born in the wrong decade or the wrong century or something. But I met my teachers in my early 20s, and I had my children quite early. I got married very early, and I got divorced again.
Let me stop you there because we've jumped from you didn't fit in the box to when you had your children. What happened at the age of 10 or 12 when you were that young with friends at school? What were your
Mm,
experiences?
I think I had psychic experiences. I had a troubled family, and when something was going to be happening troublesome, maybe I didn't want to be home if I could find a way to get out before it happened. I would get these body reactions, and I quickly learned that was a warning. Good time to leave, or if you could hide yourself in your bedroom and I'm doing homework.
Oh,
Um, uh, that worked out a whole lot better, and I started learning music from my one of my uncles, and he was my music teacher. Uh, he was just my best friend. And music became quite both an escape, but also um, a way to find myself, to feel myself, because I don't think I fully forgot who I was. This is what my teachers, the Whittakers from Peru, would call my song.
okay. Let me
Okay, your totality, your who you really are, your spirit, everything, physical body. They called that your song.
okay. Let me stop you there. Now, you had this sense of feeling when something was wrong, when you shouldn't be around or you should disappear because you felt something was going to kick off that you didn't want to be around. When were you aware of this feeling? Was it always there? I mean, if you actually remember when you were in the crib, and that is a wonderful memory, that's way back. So, in your childhood, were you always sensing these things, or did it develop gradually? And how did you feel it? Was it
Yeah.
oh, I know sometimes when I'm tuned into things, certain things happen to my body, and that's how I know, yep, I'm saying the correct thing. I
Yeah. I think I had to learn those signals through the years. And I think they were there in their own way, possibly a lot quieter, fainter.
can be very
But
subtle.
by the time I was old enough to walk the mile into town, or that would be down to the beach. I lived on the California coast in Monterey, Pacific Grove area, and my parents would let me go by myself.
Mm,
They don't do that these days at all. No. So um, I'm not sure how old, 6, 7, 8. Um, I was beginning to realize there were problems in the family. I didn't live in the television family.
mhm,
It just wasn't like that.
mhm.
And there could be incidents, there could be arguments, somebody could get in trouble, or something like that. And I just didn't want to be in the middle of the fire.
Okay, so yeah, so from a very young age, this started to develop, and you were aware what it meant, and so accordingly you absenced yourself. What about when you were at school? What happened? Like 12, 14, 15?
Hmm. I got deeper into music and fine arts. My college degrees are in the fine arts.
Mm,
And that's something that just fed my song. It fed my soul, fed my heart. And I I spent all my time there.
mm,
I only had one or two very close friends that I could really rely on. I could tell anything to.
mm.
And otherwise, I was a bit of a loner.
Mm.
Yeah.
Was there a particular type of music you like to listen to?
Yes. There was, much to my father's dismay. When he was gone, and if I was home, I would sneak into the stereo. I wasn't supposed to touch it.
Yeah.
But I knew how to get the California Berkeley channel that played all these. It was a public radio station, and so they played all this different kinds of music and talk shows, and I loved the music, especially if some particular shows that played primitive music.
Mm.
People from South America, from Africa. I particularly loved a lot of this African tribal music.
Mhm.
And I'd have it on, and I have it on loud. And there was one day my dad came home unexpectedly, and the show was on, and I had it on, and I was dancing to this music, and I just adored it. And he went kind of wide-eyed and yelling and turn that off and get away from my machine, and that's horrible. What's that sound?
But it resonated with your soul, that beat, that it just made you come alive.
To this day, it does. And that's the kind of music that I play in my classes. When I teach these shamanic pieces of knowledge about healing and life and self-discovery and how to free yourself from the programming. That's my latest book, The 7 No-Nos. That's very much what it's all about. How do you get out of the programming? How can you even tell that you're programmed? Because we've been programmed since we were born.
You can say that.
And it's like wallpaper. It's, we can't really notice that it's there. It seems so real.
It's very true. Let's take it further now from your teenage times into your 20s, because you said that's when you came across your teachers.
By then I was a single parent of 2 tiny little kids.
Okay.
And I decided to go back to school. I found a way to do it and to get a scholarship. And I could live on campus with the kids. It was a dream come true. And that's when I met the Whittakers, Damano and Chia Whittaker from Peru. And they had, what Damano told me when he first met me was, he has a gift for me. He has something that belongs to me. And I was afraid of him. There's a whole big long story to that I won't go into. I'll take up all your time. But it's in the first book. My very first book, The Reluctant Shaman, details it to all the details. And he scared me, and I ran away. But I ran into him again, and he convinced me to come and meet him and his wife, and the teachings, to hear about the teachings they wanted to teach me, to give to me. And that started the 13 years of studying with them.
Okay. So you met this man when you were on campus. So was he teaching on campus, or was he studying as well?
Oh no, they came from Peru. They were immigrants.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you met him and you spoke to him, and it was what he said that resonated with you.
At first, it just scared me and I ran away. But what he said after that, I mean, really, I ran away. I wasn't exactly on the campus. I was across the street from campus territory, and there's the beach. There's the cliffs of Santa Cruz Beach. There was a great storm, but Santa Cruz doesn't get big storms, and it had lightning, and that's like, every 10 or 20 years you get a lightning storm, and I was just pulled to the lightning. I had to go be in it, and there was nobody there, no cars, no people, nothing. But the waves were splashing all the way up onto the path, way up the cliff onto the path in the parking lot. And I was in a borrowed truck, got out of the truck, and I just had to be in it. I was drenched. So it was pouring rain, splashing seawater, and there was lightning really close by. The kind that you can actually feel. Your hair stands up, and
Mhm.
I was just, ooh, this is gorgeous, gorgeous. Feeds my soul. And Domana was walking down the path, and he had on, as far as I could tell, sort of white peasant clothes that are kind of sloppy, raggy,
Mhm.
uh, cheap, the kind of thing that they wear in Mexico and Central South America and stuff. And his hair was kind of long. He was native. I don't know, but at that point, I didn't know which kind. I could just tell he wasn't a Caucasian person.
Mhm.
And he was his hair was white, but he was walking like a 30-year-old man, strong, straight up, fast. And he's saying, I have something for you.
Ah,
I
while
have,
while she was standing and all this water was, oh my gosh.
yeah.
God.
And I thought he was a vagrant that lived under the bridges because we had a lot of them.
Mhm.
And most of them were drug users and people who, didn't have a mental home to be in anymore and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And he scared me. I mean, all of that whole picture did not match
Mhm.
the white hair, the wrinkled face, the kind of clothes he had on. I
Mhm.
don't, I didn't pay any attention to whether it was barefoot or it was sandals, but it was just um, out of place, out of place. And his strength and his character and um, he didn't look like a crippled old man. Like the hair, with no cane and none of that kind of stuff. So
Wrinkle
yeah,
face.
I was like,
You were,
none of my grandparents look like this. I think I'm running. I think I'm getting back in the truck. And I was fumbling getting in, and I was scared. And I drove back up into the campus. I literally ran away.
and he never, at that time, he never got to give you what he said he had for you
Oh no, no,
because you
that was
registered. So
I ran too fast. Yeah, I got away too fast.
when was the next time you saw him that you stood and
It was
listened?
probably a couple of weeks later. I was up on campus, and they have these incredible little coffee shops all over the campus connected to each one of the different college complexes.
Mhm.
And I was in the Stevenson coffee shop, which is kind of famous for its own right. And they had um, really, really good dark French roast coffee. And I've never had anything like that before. But the only thing I'd had before was instant coffee. And this was just the taste of it was so beautiful. And they had pastries and things there. If I had enough change in my pockets, I didn't have much money at the time. And if I had enough change, I would buy a little pastry and have my coffee, and I'd sit there and read something. Um, and he was in the shop. He was in that coffee shop on the other side of it against the window. There was a whole wall full of windows. And I didn't recognize him right at first, but then I realized that's the same guy, but he has American clothes on and his hair is dry. And he was watching me, and he got up and slowly, and like a crippled man, he was all bent. He had something he was leaning on, or the chairs. It's like he couldn't get there very fast, and it hurt. And I felt really sorry for him. And I thought, oh my word, all those things I thought about him on the beach was was ugly, and here he is. He's really old and really crippled, uh, and he just sat down in the other chair at my table, and he didn't ask me. And even if he had asked me, I grew up in, with any kind of elders, you're always very polite and you don't disagree, and if you try to help them if you can, if they really look like they need help. He looked like he needed help. And, and he said the same things again. I have something that I want to give you. Me and my wife have something that is yours, and this is for you. And I thought, oh, I don't think so. But I was really polite. I was really sweet, scared inside, but very sweet. And he was telling me about what he wanted to give me. And this was the teachings of his whole tribe. Their long lost secret teachings that are pre-flood, and they're all about healing and changing and seeing, taking away the dark things, the all the incorrect things, the lies that society has fed us since we were born. And it was about seeing the real world for the real time and what it really is, and what it's really about, what it feels like. And he said, okay, on Tuesday, like next Tuesday at 10 o'clock, you'll be at my little house and my wife will be there, and we'll all meet each other, and we'll start telling you what this teaching is all about. And I'm smiling and yes, okay, I'll show up. I'll be there. I'm really, really glad. But I was puzzled, why aren't you? And I asked him, why aren't you teaching your own people? Why aren't you home with your tribe and teaching your own people? And he said he already did that. He and his wife, they already did that. And it's the tribe's decision to go teach the modern people, the other rest of the culture out there that's tearing the world apart, to teach them these secrets of life, these things we've kept pure and true until right now, until these days, because this is the time when the world is changing. And we could see it around us. We know that world out there is crumbling and falling apart and dying, and it scares us a lot. And we don't know what we could do to change that. But what they said, is that you have to get rid of the programming inside you. That's corruption. You got corruption inside you. You have to get rid of the corruption. When you get rid of the corruption inside you, you can get rid of the corruption all around you in your whole world, the whole culture, the whole humanity. And that's why he's there. And they've been watching me, which I thought, hey, don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. Sounds creepy. No, I'm smiling, and they realized I'd be a person that they could teach.
I find it very interesting that when you first met him on the cliff, because you said the waves were coming up onto the path, and so he had this white hair, he had this wrinkled face, but his posture was that of a younger man, and he's walking very strong.
Very strong.
And now when he's in the coffee shop and he approaches you, he's actually approaching you as this white-haired, wrinkle-faced old man in the way that you probably would expect him. Do you think at that time, being the spiritual person he was, probably knew that there was that confusion and that fright in you, that next time he approached you, he would approach you differently?
Absolutely. This is a storytelling tradition, medicine storytelling.
Mm.
and we are medicine storytellers, and
Yeah.
he is the best. And he can act out, he can put on any kind of show that you want, which he did through the years. And
Yes.
he would play this poor old man who's falling down and needs his granddaughter, his assistant,
Yeah.
to help him get up. And I'm being really embarrassed, in these situations, because they do this in a crowded public place.
Mm.
And yeah, he was a storyteller.
And
Yeah,
that's fascinating. As you said, he will act out these things and it would appear. And as I said, when you're spiritual and you are looking at somebody and you approach them in a way, you can actually feel their fright, their fear. And I think he recognized that in you. So when he was approaching you this time, he approached you as you would see him, as this old man and vulnerable, and that way was able to calm you.
indeed. Yes.
And that was so interesting. So how did this relationship develop between you, the wife, the storytelling? How did that journey begin and take you?
The first time that I went, when I said I wouldn't go, I ended up going. And I swore I wouldn't go. And I was, my parents always said, you don't go to a stranger's house, especially a man, and they're going to be by yourself, the man. And um, I didn't expect to go. I didn't think I would. And I was convinced at the time, I'm not going, but I'm going to be polite and say, okay, that's okay, Grandpa. That's,
Okay.
I'll be there. I'll be there. It'll be okay. But she was not there in the house when I arrived. And so the first thing we did, he said, oh, we have to go meet Chia. It's time. She's going to be coming back. And they lived very close to the Santa Cruz beach. And so we walked down onto the beach, and it's empty. There's no people. And then way in the distance in the sand, I could see this figure, and it looks like a woman. She was in a dress that hit just below her knees, so I was pretty sure that's a female. And I could see the white hair, and she had that same very purposeful posture and action and flexibility and the strength of a much younger woman. I'd never seen a woman of any age in my culture that looked like that acted like that. And even though she was really, really far away, but she was slowly walking towards us. That scared me. She scared me.
Mm.
And she just did not fit the picture of an American
Woman,
elder woman,
as
especially the woman.
as the husband did on the first day you saw him on the beach. The same thing.
They were being themselves. That's how they were. And it unnerved me. Just shook all this stuff loose in my head of what is, what should be. That's the way the world works. Because my idea at the time is that everybody around the planet gets old this way. As you age, you fall apart,
Yeah.
and it gets worse and worse, and the hair gets whiter and whiter, and you get more and more crippled. And all those kinds of beliefs just flew out the window. And that kind of puts you in a spot, at least for a minute, that you don't know what's true. You don't know what's real. And I was both fascinated, and I really, really wanted what they had, because he was being, at that time on that day, he was being that younger, strong male, self-confident, straight mind, everything. And she definitely was like that.
Mm.
Uh, there was something in that. There was something about them that they had a peace. They had a peace and a confidence, and they carried all this knowledge, and you could feel it. I could feel it. They carried that knowledge, and they wanted to share it with me. And I wanted to be able to be like who they were, what they were, what they could do. I don't think I have the kind of physical strength, flexibility, and or mental power that they did at that time, and I was in my early 20s.
Mhm.
And I
It,
didn't want to get any dumber as I grew older.
you get to get better and stronger
Yeah.
to be as they. You know, you just said as we get old, we tend to fall apart. And this is how we see old age. And this is very interesting what you said, because I am questioning that even more so now. As I said to you before, my mother passed away just about a month ago. It was quite traumatic. She passed away at home, and yet it was quick and peaceful. But when you walk that spiritual path and you know about the strength of the Creator and all that is, I actually am questioning, why do we have to get old and fall apart? Why should we, when the body is energy and it becomes weak or disabled because it's out of sync? And we should be able to put it back in sync so that it can continue to be strong.
Yes. Yes. We should. And
And
from the
that's
stories, I never met his tribe, and they wouldn't have let me get close to their place, their land anyway. Their tribe has been very isolated, and they've kept themselves purposefully isolated, especially from white
corruption.
intruders and the
Yes.
corruption, the modern world
Yes.
corruption.
Yes.
And um, they don't want the diseases. They don't want
Exactly.
the mental, the emotional diseases either.
Yes.
And so that's one of the things they told me in the very beginning, that I would never be able to go there. But they would tell me whatever I wanted to know about the people. And they lived in that same way. They lived a much longer life, unless they got attacked by something, a jaguar or something, and died at an earlier age. But it was they were into their 120, maybe more, and they didn't need help from anybody. They're physically fit. They didn't lose their balance. Their hair hadn't gotten hardly any gray. They didn't have that many wrinkles. But
I
yeah,
can,
they were
I can,
just fit.
I'm presently going through reading the Bible, and I'm reading the Ethiopian Bible from the beginning, and I check it with the King Jameses. But when you start back from Genesis, and they're giving you these ages, and even Adam, he was like 100 and something before they had a child, kind of thing. And then another one was like 100 and odd when they had their first child. And between then they lived for another 800 and odd years. And in between that time, they had more sons and daughters.
Yeah.
And that, and when you read, I think was it Abraham had his first child at 100, and you say I'm old, but he was after the flood. But prior to the flood, they sometimes weren't getting children until they were 132, and then they were at 900 and odd. And I think slowly it came down to starting to have their children at 60 odd. And I thought, God, you're a baby. But again, they were living to like 700, 800. You know, so when you read these things, and you have to think, well, what's happened? Of course, things happened and the flood came and then it shortened. But still, even after the flood, Abraham was 100 when he first had his child, and with Hagar, and then after that, Sarai had got pregnant. You know, so it is possible. It is very possible, but it's the way we live and what we put in our bodies and in our minds.
Yep, we have corrupted ourselves so much that we've corrupted the physical shell.
Yes,
the physical body
through our
the song, the rest of our song, the spirit or soul, however you want to call that, is eternal.
Yes,
it has been around forever, and
yes,
it's going to be around for forevermore.
Well, this is it. I mean, even my mother's passing, you know, and I might say to my children, well, her burial, which hasn't taken place because she died at home, but it's just her shell that's there. Her eternal actual self has gone somewhere else. She's still living for once. She's still existing.
Yes.
We need to remember that we just need this shell, this avatar for Earth. We can't use it to go to the moon. We have to put on another shell to go to the moon and a different shell to go somewhere else. But when we let those shells and those avatars go, our very being is eternal.
Yes, it is. Absolutely is. And that's what they call our song. They're very poetic people, very poetic. And song is beauty, and it's poetry, and it's sound and music and harmonies. It's all together, and that's how they describe our beingness. And they have a ceremony, how to find your song and how to feel your song. Right now, we're identifying with all the corruption.
Yes.
With our blind beliefs, with the programming, that's who we think we are. And somebody telling us, you know, you're supposed to grow up to be a thus and such and do this and that. And we believe it, and we try to do it, and we try to live that out, and it hurts, and it's not us, and it fails.
Yes.
And, but the real us has been around for a long time, and we can learn to identify that with what that is us, and bring that all into our conscious awareness. That's what this book, The Seven No-Nos, is about. That's what all the teachings, the Katasi teachings, are all about, is how to find your song, how to learn to be it, how to expand your consciousness so that you can find the past lives that you've been in this big eternity. It's a lot of time.
Yeah.
We've been to a lot of places, and we've done a lot of things on this earth, on other planets, on in a nebula, all this stuff. We've been there, and we've done that. And now, you know, for this lifetime, we're donating this body, and we're doing this game, this acting this out. And the song ceremony is so beautiful and so simple. When Damano taught it to me, he said, the only thing you need to do is to remember a time in your life when you were really happy. Some kind of incident of an event, or just a period of time you were really, really happy. Maybe this is the time when you fell in love. Maybe you fell in love with a puppy or a baby, or the flowers, or the sunlight, or maybe you fell in love with another person, and that's just the real giddy one. And remember that feeling. Just call up the events, remember the details, remember the feeling, and you get into a meditative state, and you go into the feeling, and the details fall away. All the details fall away, and all you're remembering is the feeling. Only when you are feeling the feeling, you're looking at the feeling now, this time, you know the truth of it. That's the truth of your song. That's who you really are. That person that you were in love with, that somehow they stimulated this, but that feeling is you coming up from hiding and filling your beingness with this love and this excitement and the beauty and the passion, and there's peacefulness in there, and there's creativity in there, there's connectedness in there, and we realize that's who we are. And you go deeper in your meditation, feeling that feeling, knowing that's you. That's who I am. And you remember it.
So,
That
Kay,
act, pardon me, that act just, it stimulates those memories out of time and space of you through whatever time period, through whatever life. And if you explore it, you'll start remembering those lifetimes, and you can explore them and see what they taught you. It was you back then, but what is it that you learned that is teaching you now? It's able to teach you something now about yourself and your life and life in general and the cosmos and consciousness, and what true deep cosmic beauty is, and true deep unconditional love is. Your song is all about that love. And there's an Egyptian story that was kept super secret in these secret societies and temples. And that's the entity that created everything, the beginning of the creator.
yeah,
And they think of it as she, not a he, but she, because she births.
yes, creation.
And she's the blackness. She's the blackness of everything in the void, and that it has all this potential, this exciting life and energy and potential and knowledge in this blackness. And she starts birthing, and what she births is unconditional love. She fills the universe with unconditional love, and she doesn't stop birthing. She just keeps birthing more love, more love, more love. The next birth that she has is Neith, Neith. Neith is the weaver. And she takes that love and uses it like threads in her loom, and she weaves all the dimensions, all the worlds, all the stars and galaxies and planets, and our planet and our physicalness, our humanity. She weaves everything out of the love. And so what that teaches is that we're all made out of pure, unconditional love. Everything, the stars, the blackness, everything is unconditional love. And our song is unconditional love. We are it, and we give it out all the time. And you could feel that in that love feeling when you first started finding your song, and that love that is you. It's got your signature and your individual piece of creator. That's your signature. That's your song. And you feel it. You feel it, and it teaches you. You learn from it. You grow from it. And it changes everything that you are, the way you thought. It strips away the blind beliefs and the programming.
And the prejudices.
Very much so.
The prejudices.
Yes, all the different kinds of corruption. That's all corruption.
Yes.
That's not the way we were. in the very beginning. Somewhere along the line, we ended up becoming corrupt, and we lost years of our life, like you mentioned. And so the life is shortened, our health is shortened. The women are burdened with pain and horror when they give birth. And all those stories, they come from the time of receiving the corruption, and we let it inside ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting when, as you say, when we were birthed from unconditional love, which it does say that. And even in the Bible, it says God created us, depending on how you want to look at it. We were made from unconditional love. And when you understand, and the way you've put it from that tribe, it's weaved and everything is created from this love. It shows you quite clearly that we're all connected, because we're all coming from the same source.
The same womb. We're tied together by the threads in the womb.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether we're in the north of the planet, in the south of the planet, in the east of the planet, or the west of the planet. It was all created from unconditional love and from the same source. And it is only temporal conditions of temperature over a period of time that's changed the way we look. But it has not changed the fact that we all were weaved from unconditional love. That can never change.
That is the beginning point.
That is, and it's like you go to a cold place, you have to you take on different things to survive in that cold place. You go to a hot place, then you look differently and change different things to survive in that hot place. And people from a cold climate look different from the people from a hot climate, because we're adapting to our surroundings.
Absolutely.
But we've all been woven with such force, and not stamina, but for such strength that cannot be broken. And it is love. And it's always there. And we've all been created from that. So why is the world in the mess it's in? Because we have forgotten. We've been blinded. Not just we've forgotten, we have been blinded to think differently.
Yeah. And in some ways, it's just been passed down from generation to generation. Yes. They didn't know any better. Yeah. They weren't thinking any better. They weren't outside of that box. Mm-hmm. And there are other, I don't have a word for it. No. There are other influences that corrupted us.
Yes. Yes.
And the corruption got worse and worse and worse.
Generation.
And their story, both from Egypt and from Peru, their story is that before the beginning of our era, our age, before humanity, there was another humanity. There was another civilization here on Earth that covered the planet and was incredibly technologically savvy. But they never grew up emotionally, or morally, or spiritually. And with all that technology, they fell into corruption somewhere along the line in there, and it got worse and worse and worse. And they ended up blowing themselves and each other up. They killed their race off and almost killed the planet off. And but there's remnants of a better way to live, the way that we were taught when we were first created.
Yes.
And so that's what they try to preserve. That's what these people try to preserve, is those teachings, the original teachings of love and beauty, harmony, and this deep connectedness. The connectedness is so intimate.
Yes.
And it's so alive. There's aliveness everywhere. Everything is alive. They both teach. Everything is alive. Every atom, every rock in the air, and the
Yes.
stars. Everything
All
is
life.
alive.
It's all life in
It's
its
all
forms. So, Kay, you've learned this. Now, do you have classes? How do you work with people? Because this shaman gave you this gift. You then went on to learn about the gift.
yeah.
So how do you use that now in your daily life, and how do you share that?
They asked me to write about them and the teachings and my experience of learning the teachings. That was a very big piece of what I was to write about. And to teach anybody that came and asked, who wanted to be taught, and to live this way, to keep studying it, keep living it, keep teaching it, keep giving it. This is the give of life and life and love and beauty and of the ancients. And that's what I've tried to live out all these years. I'm now, in a couple of weeks, I will be 78. And
Well
all
done.
these years, I've studied and lived and taught this. This is my being. This is my goal. This is my heart's dream. I'm fulfilling my purpose, my passion, and we teach. My husband and I, he started with studying the same teachings, and he'd studied with Native Americans before that. So his mind was already leaning way into that same kind of area. So you met him for a second here. He's my technical expert and my husband of 33 years.
Oh, lovely.
And so he helps me teach everything. He helps with all the technical stuff, setting everything up, managing the business end of everything. And it's a beautiful, beautiful way to live. We have a website with all these teachings that we talk about in different articles on that website. That is katasi.com.
How are you spelling?
K-A,
Yes.
KATASEE.com. KATASEE.com. And we have a lot of videos. We do a lot of these YouTube type videos, and they're all over the place. I've got several books out, and they're also listed in that website. The website has been updated, being updated. I think they're mostly through with it. But so everything is in there, all the information about the different books and the teachings and what these teachings and these different words mean and the concepts and the histories, and it's all there, and it's all juicy. It's beautiful. The first book that I wrote, I started writing as soon as my teachings with the Whittakers was over, and they were going to go back to South America.
Okay.
And yeah, I was. Even after 13 years, it was just heartbreaking, the thought of having them go, and I'm not going to be a student anymore, and I'm on the other side of the fence. But I agreed to it. Wasn't quite sure how I was going to accomplish it, but I just set out immediately, started writing that first book. It's called The Reluctant Shaman. It was put out by Harper's. And The second book is Sacred Link, and it's an extended, ex, ex, no, it's an appendix of sorts, the extension of the first book, the next several years of my being with the Whittakers, learning and what I was being taught, and how that life was, and learning that way, how that was, what it was like for me, and what they were like, etc. The third book, I started writing as soon as I started teaching, and I didn't advertise teaching or put it out there in any way whatsoever, because I didn't think I knew how to do it yet. I had to figure it out. And I'd had a lot of interaction with Indian communities, Lakota and Cheyenne and all these other people, and did a lot of ceremonies with them and stuff. And I had this one really super good friend named Whirlwind. She was a very large woman, and she was a whirlwind wherever she went. she was just a whirlwind. And sometimes even the weather would change, and there'd be, it turned into a storm and rain. And she was so sweet and delightful and everything. And she just came up to me one day and she said, "Will you teach me? And will you do a bone throw for me?" The bone throw is the divination of the Whittakers tradition. And I never told anybody that I did the bone throws, because I didn't have enough confidence yet that I could be good enough to do a throw for another person. But because it was her, I said yes. And we were on ceremony grounds. We were on Sundance grounds, and we went off and made a little picnic area kind of thing, and spread the bones out and did the bone throws, and it was like an avalanche after that. That people just found me, and they wanted a bone throw, they wanted a reading, they wanted a healing, or they wanted teaching. The healing arts are very extensive in these traditions. Mm-hmm. And that I felt a lot more confident at, being able to do that. And it was just one thing, one step at a time. And I've been teaching classes ever since, and doing healings. I do healings on people on a regular basis to this day. And I'm still writing more books. This last book I started on this right after they left, and I started teaching. And it's about these really deep ways of thinking and feeling and being, and the symbols that go with them. And I was teaching them to my students, and I was writing them out and teaching them, in person with lectures. And it took me 15 years of intense work. I finished it about 2 years ago, and we published it. But for 15 years of my teaching, I was intensely writing in that book. Yeah. And it came out like poetry. Every time I would sit down to write, and I'd get into the place, into the thinking and that teaching, and it just all spilt out like poetry. So it's a very different kind of book. And it talks about a lot of the much deeper, much harder to understand concepts of the teachings.
Okay.
That's called The Weavings. And then the one that I just finished just got published.
Yes.
And I was on the bestseller list on Amazon for a while. The 7 No-Nos. This one also started with things that I teach to people. It's the it began with the no lecture. And the Whittakers would tell me, no, 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 in their broken English, that you just were very arrogant. That's a very arrogant thing to say, and you want to stop that in your life. You want to peel that out of your
Minds.
beingness, out of your
Okay.
life, your mind. Yeah, uh, and. So there are 7 no-nos. Those are the ones that they said the most to me. In other words, these are the offenses I made the most, the biggest. The first one is no blind beliefs. That's all your programming. That's okay.
Okay. Can you stop there? You've got all those books going. If somebody wanted to contact you, do you do one-to-ones, or do you do group sessions, or what? How do you work?
I do one-to-one when I do a healing,
Mm-hmm.
and I rarely teach one-to-one. I
Okay.
have here and there through the past. It depends on the circumstances very much, because I don't end up having a lot of time to do that. But we have regular classes.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you do have regular classes, and that is all on the website.
It's all on the website. The first class is called The Call of Your Song.
Okay. Fine. And this is what I want my viewers to remember, and to contact Kay. Of course, she's given us her website, katasee.com, KATASEE.com. So if you want to contact Kay, and she's gone through a lot in her life. And with this shaman, and as I said, in shaman, when I asked, it is about storytelling. It's about medicine people and this holding the knowledge, and it comes from the Siberian words. So I've heard about shamans before, but I often think of what does that actually mean, and there it is that she's told us. So before we say thank you and goodbye, can you leave us with a gold nugget or two of advice for the people who are watching and they're going through things in their life?
The gold nugget that I would leave behind is to do the song ceremony. And if you follow the website, go to YouTube, look them up. We have all these videos of free song ceremonies where I'm leading people through the song ceremony, like I just described. It's that happiness, the happiness that you felt in some delightful memory. And you realize that feeling, that's the feeling of who you really are. That's your song. That is your beingness, your totality, your song. And everything starts with that. And when you learn that, everything opens up and the universe starts teaching you.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Kay. So all my viewers who've been watching today, I hope you've gained some knowledge from that, and realizing, as we keep on saying, we have forgotten, we've been blind hooded, blind winked, and disconnected from who we really are. We're all one, created from unconditional love. And that's why we really need to look how we're treating one another on this earth. But more so, we need to stop, and we need to start to look at ourselves and reconnect to source, to our creator, to God. It's given many names, but we're coming from one source, and it is the gods who have created the whole of the universe, multiverse, whatever, and created us from unconditional love. So for now, I'm thanking my guest, Kay Whittaker. Thank you very much for joining us today. And all those who have been watching, bye for now. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.